In 1984, Karate Kid hit the theaters and suddenly everyone was kung fu fighting. In 1985, the movie Vision Quest tried to do the same thing with high school wrestling. We'll take a closer look back at this 80s classic on the next Back to the Feature.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
I always wondered if the movie Vision Quest inspired young men to put on the required uniform.
No, I don't wear tights. I wear the required uniform. Tights.
You have your main character, Louden Swain, played by Matthew Modine, whose next starring role would be in Full Metal Jacket. Then you have a killer soundtrack featuring such artists as Journey, Foreigner, Sammy Hagar, and Dio. Then you can add Madonna to that list because not only did she feature on the soundtrack, but she made a cameo as well. Mind you, this wasn't the Madonna of this century. This was Madonna just starting out with her huge Like a Virgin album and tour. And of course, there's the amazing placement of Red Rider's Lunatic Fringe at the climax of the movie. When this song kicked in, you could feel the energy building up in the theater. So our dude Louden is a senior in high school in Spokane, Washington, where he's on the wrestling team and #1 in his weight class at 190 pounds. He decides that he wants to drop 2 weight classes down to 168 so he can wrestle 3-time state champion Brian Shute from a rival high school. Shute is undefeated in his high school career and Louden wants to be the one to finally beat him. Well, not so fast, mon frere. His coach doesn't like this idea. Louden is living on a 600 calorie a day diet and the coach tries to explain how unhealthy that is. The coach gives in, but first he says Louden has to beat the #1 wrestler at 178 before he will even consider him for 168. Louden gladly accepts the challenge, but that means he has to wrestle and beat his best friend Kuch, who is pissed about the whole idea. Let's stop for a second and talk about Michael Schoeffling as Kuch. Here he wears a mohawk and proclaims himself a half-Indian spiritual advisor. He's a great character and completely different from the character Michael played in 16 Candles the year before. Unfortunately for Kuch, Louden beats him pretty quickly. At night, Louden works part-time delivering room service at a local hotel where he works with the hotel cook named Elmo. He comes off more like a father figure as opposed to just a friend to Louden. He knows about the plan to wrestle Shute and he's worried he could get hurt. After work, Louden fills Kuch in on his plan to drop another weight class. Kuch thinks he's crazy, but he's stoked to hear he'll get his #1 spot back at 178. Louden then makes Kuch promise not to tell anyone about his plan. So Kuch tells everyone about the plan at school and his wrestling team isn't too happy about it. They think he's being selfish and that it will hurt the overall team. It's time for wrestling practice after school and they're taking turns at the pegboard challenge. Let's just say I would suck at this challenge. Using 2 pegs to slowly make your way to the top of this high-ass wall. Nope, I couldn't do it. While they're paired up practicing some moves, Kuch explains to Louden what he's really doing with the Shute plan. He's on a vision quest. Then he said, if they ever make a movie about high school wrestlers, they should call it Vision Quest. That night, Louden shows up at the garage his dad works at to find a bit of chaos. Turns out his dad Larry, played by Ronnie Cox, punched a sales guy who sold a lemon car to a young woman. This young woman is Carla and she's played by Linda Fiorentino in her first film role. Carla is from New Jersey and making her way across the country to San Francisco. She's pretty guarded and a bit rude to Louden at first. Hitchhiking across the country and dealing with creeps will do that to a girl. So the issue with the car was a bust. Carla's out the money she spent on it and Larry got fired for punching the guy. Louden, the international man of great ideas, comes up with another plan. He talks his dad into letting her stay with him and fixing her car. His dad goes along with it, but warns Louden that she's her own person and not some puppy they found. I think this is 1980s dad talk for, just because she's staying with him doesn't mean Louden gets to have sex with her. She's out of options, so Carla agrees and moves in. Louden gives up his bedroom for her and moves into the basement. She hasn't been there 1 full day and already Louden is so distracted that he's blowing off his training. He hitches a ride home with Kuch instead of running home. And once there, Kuch sees the reason Louden was in such a hurry. Louden decides to take Kuch with him to go let Shute in on his plan. They find him working out at a local stadium where he's carrying a giant log on his back as he walks up and down the bleachers. It's a short conversation as Shute just says he hopes that Louden makes the weight. The guy's a total beast. Like a typical 18-year-old virgin, Louden tells Elmo that he's in love with Carla, the woman he's only known for a couple of days. And to top that off, he then tells Elmo that he now wants to be a gynecologist because the vagina is all he can think about. In one of the more memorable moments of the movie, we find Louden getting a shirt from the laundry when he gets distracted. What distracts him, you ask? Well, it's Carla's laundry. Specifically, it's her panties, that he then picks up and smells. He's so wrapped up smelling them that he doesn't see Carla walk in. When he opens his eyes, he doesn't even flinch. He just shrugs and gives them back to her like, my bad. What a dumbass. Carla wants to be an artist when she gets to San Francisco, and we see that she has some talent when she shows Louden a sketch she's working on. He's excited to see it's a drawing of him, and it's actually pretty good. Louden heads out to the local bar where he hangs out with his English teacher, Mr. Gene Tannerhan. This is where we get the cameo from Madonna as she plays the singer providing the live music. He's surprised when Carla shows up too. She asks Louden to dance, and big surprise, it's a slow dance as Madonna sings Crazy for You. He's loving it, up until he sees that she came with some guys she met. Shot down before he even got a chance. Louden goes to one of Shute's wrestling matches so he can take notes. It's a short match, and Louden is starting to feel like this might be a mistake. A girl approaches Louden in the hall and tells him, I think I love you. And how does Louden respond? Well, he passes out right onto the floor. Not quite the response she was expecting. In the nurse's office, he tells Gene that he's not dehydrated. He just has some sort of imbalance or something, and he suffers from priapism. If you don't know what that is, Google it. Carla shows up at wrestling practice because she heard Louden fainted. She expresses her concern about his health and then drops the bomb on him that she looks at him like a stepbrother or something. Ouch! And then she kisses him on the cheek as she leaves. Louden is picking up mixed signals all over the place. The coach confronts him about his fainting and his overall plan and tells him that he either wrestles at his own weight or not at all. Louden returns to practice slightly pissed off to say the least. While everyone is doing their exercises, he decides to take a run at the peg wall, and by the time he's halfway up, everyone stops to watch. Suddenly, everyone who was giving him shit for wanting to wrestle Shute are now cheering him on. The coach hears all the commotion and comes running out into the gym just in time to see Louden at the top of the wall. He comes down from the wall and his coach gives in. He can continue dropping weight to wrestle Shute. And just like that, the entire wrestling team is now on Team Louden. Back at work, Louden is chatting with Elmo and then delivers my favorite line in the movie. Hey Elmo, what do you know about the clitoris? Classic. During his nightly arm wrestling match with Elmo, Louden's nose starts to bleed. First he faints and now he can't hold his blood. On his ride home with Kuch, Louden spots Carla having dinner with teacher Gene and he's pissed. The next morning he's giving her the cold shoulder and she has no idea why. That night he comes home to find Carla waiting for him. She confronts him about his attitude and he just loses his shit. He accuses her of screwing his teacher and asks why she doesn't screw him. And then he falls on top of her as he pushes her onto the bed where she decks him, causing another nosebleed. Not cool, Louden. Not cool at all. We get to see Kuch's home life when Louden stops by to find Kuch getting slapped around by his drunk dad. After they leave, they both bitch about their mom situations and Kuch confesses he's not Indian like he says he is. It's just shit he made up in his head to help deal with the real world. Their team is on the road for a big wrestling meet where Louden spots Carla in the audience. And frankly, I was pretty surprised to see her there after his previous behavior. This is Louden's first match at the lower 178 class. He's doing pretty good and Carla finds herself impressed. And then he takes an elbow to the nose and starts bleeding like a sieve. Louden doesn't have time to bleed though. He wants to win this match. Unfortunately for him, his nose has other plans and just keeps bleeding. His coach forces him to pull out of the match and Louden is not a happy camper. So he loses the match and his team loses the overall meet. Afterwards, Louden is in the bathroom nursing his nose when he looks up and sees no other than Shute himself standing behind him. He's like a shark and there's literally blood in the water. Louden follows him into the hall where Carla is waiting for him. Her car is finally fixed and she's there to give him a ride home. They stop for dinner and he tells her he understands why she would go for a guy like Gene. Heck, he likes the guy a lot himself. She stops his rambling by leaning across the table and kissing him. But that's all that happens because the next thing we see is Louden going for a run first thing in the morning. Carla and Louden make a grocery run and some boxes fall, hitting him in the face, causing him to change into Mount Gushmore. His dad wants him to take a break from training to go see his grandpa and Carla agrees to tag along. I guess Grandpa's house is quite far because they stop for the night to camp out. They're able to just talk and bond while sitting next to the campfire. And camping for the night means sharing a tent. Nothing happens between them though because frankly, Louden can't seem to muster a moment of maturity. The next day they make it to Grandpa's and what do you know? It's the dude who sold Christine to Arnie. Small world. After watching Louden talk to his grandpa, Carla starts to see a softer, more mature side of him. She gives in and sleeps with him. Maybe now he'll stop being so damn whiny. Back home in Spokane, it's time for round 2 in bed. She makes him promise to make the weight and wrestle Shute. She doesn't want him to lose focus. After the last practice, before the big showdown, Louden races home and Carla's gone. Poor Louden. He doesn't know what to do, so he goes wandering around town like a lost little puppy. The teams are getting ready in their locker rooms and Louden is nowhere to be found. He stopped off to see Elmo at his apartment after learning that he took the night off work. In a touching scene, Elmo explains it's worth him to lose a night's pay to come see him realize his dream. Louden tells him he's only going to be on the mat for maybe 6 minutes tops. Elmo then tells him a great story about watching Pele play soccer on TV one time, and that it doesn't matter that it's only 6 minutes. It's what happens during those 6 minutes. Shute is the last one to weigh in and still no Louden. Just before the official declares it a forfeit, Louden comes running in. He takes off his clothes and gets on the scale, but he's still over 168. He then drops his tidy whities and hits 168 exactly. As she has a tendency to do, Carla shows up unexpectedly in the locker room to see Louden. He's mad she left without saying goodbye, but she's correct when she says he wouldn't even be wrestling if she had stayed. Then comes our big rah-rah moment of the movie. Louden, alone in a dark gym practicing his moves as Lunatic Fringe plays. In the theater, this was pretty freaking cool. Louden's fired up and so is the audience. And it all comes to a head as his name is announced and he throws open the doors to enter the main gym. His dad, Grandpa, Carla, Elmo, and Teacher Jean are all there to cheer him on. The moment is here and Louden and Shute face off on the mat. Shute is up 4-1 after the first round, but Louden bounces back in the second round to tie it up at 7-7. The third round gets a bit more physical and Louden takes an elbow to the face. And big shocker, his nose starts bleeding again. There's 27 seconds left in the match and Louden is down 4 points. Most of the 27 seconds is played out in slow motion as they squirm around each other looking for leverage. Louden wins the match when he pulls off the miracle of all miracles and pins Shute. The official raises Louden's arm in victory and the crowd goes crazy. The vision quest is complete and he's now the hero of his school. The end. While the movie didn't set the box office on fire when it was released, it did go on to build quite an audience when it came out on video. Most sports movies focus on baseball, football, or boxing. It's a bold move to do one on high school wrestling. It helped that it had some great young actors and a killer soundtrack though. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below to help grow this channel. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and hope you will come back for the next Back to the Feature.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.